So in this video, I'll be going over how to get the pick and place tutorial off Robotics Hub running on the Microsoft HoloLens 2. So when we're done, it'll look something like this from the HoloLens perspective. I know the robot doesn't pick up the block, but that's not something we'll fix in this video. So we'll first begin by creating a new project. I'm naming mine Robotics Hub HoloLens Tutorial. And I'm currently using Unity version 2020.3.8, the current LTS. And then we'll go ahead and create that project. Next, we'll go to the MRTK releases, and we'll get the current version 2.6.1, and we'll download the foundation package. Then we'll go back to our project, right-click the assets, and then import custom package. Go to where we downloaded the foundation, and then we will load that in. Then when this window pops up, we'll just hit apply, and then we'll go to the Mixed Reality Toolkit tab up at the top, and then add to scene and configure. Then click Mixed Reality Toolkit, and then you're going to want to change the profile to the HoloLens 2 XR SDK. Then we're going to want to open up our browser again, and then at the search bar type in Robotics Hub Unity, and then click the first link. And then you're going to want to go down to the URDF importer repository. Then you want to scroll down and go down to this link here, 0.3.0, and copy that. Then go back to our project and click the Window tab, and then Package Manager. And then in the top left, you want to click the plus and then Add from GitHub URL, and then paste that and click Add. Now go back to the browser and then click back and get the ROS TCP connector repo and click that. And then again scroll down to get the URL of the 0.3.0 and copy that. Then we'll do the same thing and add the GitHub URL. Then once that's done, you can exit and then open up the browser again and go back and go to the top of Robotics Hub and copy this GitHub link, because you're going to want to clone that repository. You can either use git bash here like I do, or I also use GitHub desktop. And as you can see, I already have the repository cloned, but just clone that so you can get all the move it messages that are in there. Then go to where you cloned it, then go to tutorials, then pick and place project, assets, and then you're going to want to copy all of these asset folders into your asset library. Oh, and I forgot, go back to that same repository, the pick and place repository, and in there, in this pick and place, you'll want to get scripts and copy those two scripts into the demo scripts folder. We'll need those for later. Now we're going to want to go to the prefabs folder and drag all three of the prefabs into the scene. Then you can try to move the cube forward a little bit. Sometimes it helps with the pick and place, sometimes it doesn't. Then go to the table prefab and expand that and click plane and disable plane. This is just so that it's easier to look at when you're using the HoloLens. Next, go to the URDF folder, click on the Nero 1, and then right-click Nero 1 URDF, and then import the URDF. Then we'll click import. Once that's done importing, click on the Nero 1, and we're going to want to turn the stiffness to 10,000, the damping to 100, the force limit to 1,000, the speed to 30, and the acceleration to 10. Then expand the Nero 1 game object, and then click World, and then Base Link, and then you're going to want to set it to Immovable. Then you'll want to go to the top tab where it says Robotics and click ROS Settings. And you can exit out of that window because this creates a Resources folder that will give you a ROS Connection prefab, and drag that in. Then go back up to the Robotics tab and generate ROS messages, and then click Browse on the top part. Then go back to the Unity Robotics repository that you got, go back to Pick and Place, and go to the ROS folder and select that folder. When you expand that, you'll see Move It Messages, and then expand the message part and go down to Robot Trajectory Message and build that. Then you can minimize that and then go down to the Nero Move It folder and then build both the messages and the service. Now if you go to your console, you'll see this error message here. And in order to get rid of this error message, you can go up to Edit and Project Settings, and then in Other Settings, you'll go down and you'll want to click the API compatibility level and make that .NET 4.x. And this should get rid of any error. Next, go back to the demo scripts folder in the assets, and you'll want to get the source destination publisher and the trajectory planner and add that to the ROS connection prefab by adding the component. Now open up both of these scripts in Visual Studio. And then you're going to want to delete here in the start function where it says ROS connection instance. Instead, change that with get component ROS connection. And save that and do that in the other script's start function. Next, add the corresponding game objects to the scripts. Then go to your asset search bar and type in pressable button Hololens 2. And then you can get the first button on the list and drag that prefab into your scene. Then press import for both of these. Then click on the button prefab, and we're going to add two components to it. One being the solver handler, and the other being a radial view. This will make the button follow our head. Then in the radial view, we'll want to set the minimum distance to 0.4 and the maximum distance to 0.7. Oh, and we're going to want to give the button a click function, so go to the events of onClick, add the ROS connection prefab, and then for the function, go to Trajectory Planner, and then hit Publish Joints. Now open up your virtual machine or wherever you're running ROS. And inside there, we can open up a browser real quick, and then type in Robotics Hub Unity. And then click on their link, and we will clone this repository into our workspace. So we'll get the code. And after copying that link, go to your workspace in a new terminal. And here you're going to want to type git clone --recurse --submodule and then paste in the link. Then press enter. And once that's done cloning, we can change directories to Unity Robotics Hub, Tutorials, Pick and Place, ROS. And here you'll see a source directory. Then in another terminal, type in hostname -uppercase I to get the IP address of your virtual machine. Then in the other terminal, we're going to want to open the params YAML file, so type vim. First I'll make this a little bigger and then move that. Vim source Nero move it config params.yaml. And in here, you're going to want to change that IP address to the one we have in the bottom window, and then save that and exit. Then you're also going to want to type chmod +x source Nero underscore move it scripts server endpoint.py. This will allow us to execute this script. Next, you're going to want to type catkin make and enter and let that build. Now, while that's building, go back to our Unity project and hit the ROS connection prefab and add the IP address to the ROS IP address input. Now, once that's done building, you're going to want to source the directory. And then we're going to launch the Nero Move It project by typing ROS launch Nero underscore move it and part underscore 3.launch. Now this will go through a bunch of launch sequences, but don't leave until it's green and says it's ready to go. Now if you go back to the Unity project and you press play, you should see in the console this connection being created. Now if you move around, you can see that the robot is moving, and then if you click the button that we created, then it should start to move the hand, and it'll try to pick up the object. Doesn't work. Go around and let go. Now to get this working with the Hololens, open up two file explorers side by side and then navigate to our Unity project folder wherever you save that. And in here, one side you're going to want to go to the packages folder, and on the other side you're going to want to go back to the same place and instead choose library and then package cache. And here you're going to see the URDF and the TCP package folders, so you're going to want to click both of those and drag them into the packages on the left, and then you can exit out. Now once that's done compiling, we can go back to our project folder, and here below assets, click packages, and then if you go down you should see ROS TCP connector, click that, and then click the runtime folder, and then here where it says Unity Robotics, click that and go to your inspector window, and you're going to want to click the Universal Windows Platform. Then go back and do the same thing with the URDF importer. Go to runtime, and click apply. So then we'll let that apply and then go back to runtime and then click Unity Robotics and then hit the Universal Windows Platform and then apply that. Next, go up to the File tab and click Build Settings, and then here click the Universal Windows Platform and switch platform. Then once that's done compiling, we can hit apply here and then add the open scene to the build, and then click player settings at the bottom left. We'll go all the way down to publishing settings, and we're going to want to click a couple buttons, internet client server and the private network client server. Next we're going to want to go to the quality settings tab on the left, and then just delete all the quality settings until it's just low. Then if we go back to player settings, we'll also want to go down to other and unclick the optimized mesh data, and then go down to the bottom left where it says XR plugin management and import that. And once that's done, you're going to want to check the Windows Mixed Reality. Then hit apply You're also going to want to add the audio spatializer if you don't like it popping up in the console. And that's all good, so we can exit out of this and we can hit build. And here we can create a build folder. We'll call it builds. Builds. And then go into that, and then we'll create another folder called tutorial build. And then select that folder and it'll build. And once that's done, we'll go into our build and then hit our solution file. And once that's done loading up, we can change the debug setting to release and from ARM to ARM64, and then go to our project tab and go down to properties, and then in debugging on the left, we're going to want to add the IP address of our HoloLens. Then hit apply and OK. You can get this IP address by asking the HoloLens, what's my IP address? Now while that's going, we're going to want to go back to our virtual machine and just rerun the part 3 launch file that we ran before, just to get it ready for when the HoloLens is up. Now when it deploys to the HoloLens, I usually get this break error, and I don't really know what it means, so I usually just exit out and stop the process, and then reopen the application on my HoloLens, and it should work. And that's it, so hope this tutorial helped.